Hello, Paula Daniele from Crochet Hook here, and this is my Beach Babe crochet scarf that I've designed. And this is an easy level pattern, and you'll find that I've just used the double crochet stitch, the single crochet stitch, and the chain stitch, so it is fairly easy to make. There's also a little bit of a challenge. If you are easy skill level, there are a few colour changes. The materials required are Red Heart with Love tan coloured yarn, and it's a category 4 medium worsted weight yarn. And you'll also need Red Heart with Love Beachy coloured yarn, and it's also medium 4. With those yarns, I'm using a 5.5mm hook or an eye. You'll need your scissors and a yarn needle. So we'll be starting off using the tan yarn, and you'll need to chain on 202 chain stitches, and that will be the length of the scarf. So I'll let you do that first, and then we'll get started on row 1. For row 1, we'll do 1 double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to do a double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. And those chains that we skipped there counts as 1 double crochet stitch. So we've actually got 2 stitches now. Now we'll just do 1 double crochet stitch into each chain stitch right along this chain, right up until the end. And that's all we're doing for this row. 1 double crochet stitch into each chain stitch along, right to the end. So I'll let you continue on, and I'll see you at the end of this row. Now I'm up towards the end of row 1, so I've done all my double crochet stitches into each stitch along, and with this last stitch here we'll do our double crochet stitch, or part of it, because we're going to add in the Beachy yarn on this step here. So cut the tan yarn, and you can put that aside now. And with the Beachy yarn, we'll just wrap it over the hook like that and pull it through. So now we can work with the Beachy coloured yarn. Now with your yarn tails, you can just tie a loose knot so they don't come undone while you're working, and you'll undo that knot later. So now we can turn the work. And for row 2, we'll chain 2, 1, 2, and we'll do 1 double crochet stitch into each stitch along. So we're doing exactly the same as what we did from the previous round. So 1 double crochet stitch into each stitch along. So I'll let you continue on doing 1 double crochet stitch into each stitch and continue right up until the end, and I'll see you there. Now I'm at the end of row 2 and I've just made my last double crochet stitch into the top of this chain 2 here. And now we can turn our work. And for row 3, we'll chain 2, 1, 2, and we'll do 1 double crochet stitch into each stitch to the end. So we're doing exactly the same as what we've done on these last 2 rows. So 1 double crochet stitch into each stitch. And that counts as 1 stitch. And you can start to see that with this Beachy yarn it really does come up quite nicely, and it is a soft yarn. I'm really liking the look of it, and because there's tan in the Beachy yarn, it's matching up with the other tan colour that I've chosen. So I'm very happy with this. So we'll continue on making our double crochet stitches into each stitch along this row, and I'll see you at the end. Now I'm up towards the end of row 3, and we're going to make our last double crochet stitch into the top of this chain 2 here, and we're also going to make a colour change. So you do that much of the double crochet stitch and then trim the yarn, and then we're going to add in our tan coloured yarn again. So getting the end, just popping it over the hook like that, and through those 2 loops. And with these 2 yarn tails, you can just tie a knot, just a loose knot, just so the work doesn't come undone. And now we're ready for row 4. So we'll turn our work to move all of this over here. So to start row 4, we'll start off with 1 chain stitch, so chain 1, and then we'll do a single crochet into that same space as the chain 1, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet into each stitch right up till the end. 1 single crochet stitch into each stitch right along this row. So I'll let you continue on making a 1 single crochet stitch into each stitch, and I'll see you at the end of this row. Now I'm up towards the end of row 4, and we're going to do a single crochet stitch, our last single crochet stitch into the top of the chain 2 here. So I've just inserted my hook into that chain 2 and just going to pull this yarn through like this, and now we're going to change our yarn back to the beachy colour. So just cut the tan yarn, and you can put that aside, and with our beachy yarn we're going to join in. Just slip it through those 2 loops. Now just tie a loose knot in these 2 yarn tails so they don't come undone as you work. So we've got our beachy yarn in now, and we can turn our work. And now we're ready to start row 5. So we'll start row 5 with a chain 2. So 1, 2, and then we'll be doing 1 double crochet into each stitch to the end. There's our first double crochet, and that chain 2 does count as 1 stitch. So just 1 double crochet stitch into each stitch along, right up until the end of this row. So I'll let you continue on making your double crochet stitches into each stitch along, and I'll see you at the end of this row. I'm now at the end of row 5, and I've just made my last double crochet stitch into the last single crochet stitch there. And now we can turn our work. And we're up to row 6. So to start row 6, we'll chain 2, 1, 2, and we'll be doing a double crochet into each stitch right along to the end. And the chain 2 does count as 1 stitch. So there's 1, 2. So just make a double crochet stitch into each stitch, and you'll keep on doing that right to the end of this row. And at the end of this row we'll be making another colour change. So I'll let you continue on making your 1 double crochet stitch into each stitch along, and I'll see you at the end of this row. I'm now up towards the end of row 6, and I'm just about to do my last double crochet into the top of the chain 2. Now on the last step here of this double crochet we're going to join in our tan yarn, so cut the beachy yarn and put the beachy yarn aside, and now with our tan yarn we're going to add it in on that last step of this last double crochet stitch. And then just tie a loose knot in these 2 tails here. Now we're up to row 7. So first we'll turn our work. making sure we get the working end of the yarn instead of all these yarn tails, which we'll weave in later. Okay, so for row 7 we'll start off with a chain 2. So 1, 2, and then we'll just be doing 1 double crochet stitch into each stitch along this row. So 1 double crochet stitch into each stitch right across this row up until the end, and you'll be making your last double crochet stitch into the top of the chain 2. So I'll let you continue on and I'll see you at the end of this row. So I'm at the end of row 7. I've just made my last double crochet stitch into the top of the chain 2 there. Now at this stage we're not going to finish off, we're just going to pull up a loop like that and just take your hook out. And see, this is the right side of the work. You can see that this foundation chain sort of pops up a little bit. We're wanting to turn the work over to the wrong side now, and you're going to weave in all of your yarn tails, and you'll need to, let me just get that out of the way. You'll need to undo those loose knots that you made, and getting your yarn needle, with each of these yarn tails you'll weave them in through the back of the stitches, and you'll do that for each yarn tail. So I'll let you go do that and I'll see you for the next step. So once you've weaved in all your yarn tails, you pop your hook back into the working end of the yarn there from the last stitch, and for the edging we'll start off with a chain 1, and then we're going to be working along this edge here, and we'll do 2 single crochet stitches into the side of each double crochet stitch and each chain 2. So 2 single crochet stitches. So where you see a gap there, you know you need to put 2 single crochet stitches. And now we come to the row where we did 1 row of single crochet stitches, and we're just going to do a chain 1. We're not going to work into that stitch there. And then here we do 2 single crochet stitches, and into the next one 2 single crochet stitches, and then we've got our last stitch here. We do 2 single crochet stitches around that post of that stitch, and for the corner we'll chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work, and now you'll be working along the bottom of the foundation chain into these unused loops. So here's our first one, and we're just going to work 1 single crochet stitch into each of these unused loops. So continue on making 1 single crochet stitch into each unused loop, and then I'll see you at the next corner. Okay, so I've just made my last single crochet stitch into the last unused loop on the bottom of this foundation chain, and we're up to the corner, so we'll chain 1 and into this space here we'll do 2 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, and into the side of this stitch here we'll do 2 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, and then into this one here 2 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, and there you can see where we did our row of single crochet stitches there. We're just going to chain 1 to move across it. Then into this next space here 2 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, into the next one 2 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, and then we've got our last one here. One, 2, and then we're going to chain 1 for the corner, and now you'll be working along this row here. So we're going to start in this stitch here and doing a single crochet, and right along this row you'll do 1 single crochet stitch into each stitch along right to the end, and I'll let you continue on doing that and I'll see you at the end. Okay, so I've just made my last single crochet stitch there in the last stitch for this side, and we're up to our last corner here, so we're just going to chain 1 and then we're going to join into this first single crochet stitch that we made. And now we can finish off, so just cut your yarn and finish off. So with your yarn needle just weave that tail in down through the back there of the stitches, and that's the end of the Beachy or Beach Babe scarf. So if you'd like to share a photo of your scarf, then feel free to do so on the Crochet Hook Shoe Facebook page.